Earthlings, and welcome to your weekly dose of newsy infotainment. It is Let's Be Treasonable, coming to you from the luxurious studios of Radio Titans in Los Angeles, with your cognitive dissidents on the panel this week. Comedian, bon vivant, and always the black voice of reason, Mr. Tymon. Shipp.
Power to the people. It's good to be here. I guess you can say amongst the living, yeah, and I'm mentally stable, away from everybody else.
And compared to the rest of the room,
yes,
anyway.
compared to the rest.
And also joining us, comedian, TV writer, and meme creator extraordinaire, Mr. Josh Greenberg is in the house.
Hi. So nice to be here on this cool, comfortable Los Angeles day.
Yeah, for those who are not local, we are currently in the midst of a heat wave in Los Angeles, triple-digit temperatures. We got fires in the hills approaching Burbank.
But that's it. I think you can safely say those are the worst natural weather conditions going on right now in the country.
Absolutely, because that's how we are in LA.
Yes.
And when I think triple-digit temperatures, and I think fires in the hills, and I think flex alerts and blackouts, of course, that only means one thing in LA. Pumpkin spice season is finally here,
Yes.
and
Yes.
we are happy to be here with that. But Josh, you did mention weather elsewhere in the country, and we will be talking a little bit about Houston later on in the show. The president, after going there earlier this week to see how his poll numbers were doing, is now actually going to see the victims of the flood. So that should be interesting. We'll see what happens there.
Seeing him as a germaphobe hugging flood victims is going to be really
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun. But we are also joined, as always, by our invisible panelist, the man who joins us through the miracle of pre-recorded sound. He is none other than five-time Emmy nominee, Will Durst, and he is here with this week's Burst of Durst.
Hey guys, Will Durst here to say, Labor Day? Already? You gotta be kidding. How the hell did that happen? 8 months of the year have expired? 2017 is 2/3 over? You know why that's frightening. Because it means any day now, radio stations are going to switch to wall-to-wall Christmas music. As holidays go, the first Monday of September gets no respect. It's that last lonely baby carrot on the festival deli tray. The metal folding chair next to the furnace that only gets pulled out when company invites company. The tomato plant in the back row closest to the fence that those darn gophers found so tasty. Part of the problem is the name. Labor Day smacks of major difficulties, especially to mothers who have experienced birth. Comes really close to glorifying chores. A stress proponent. Futile attempt to promote drudgery. Might as well call it Dentist's Drill Day. Maybe we should start a movement to rename it Extra Day Off Day or Bonus Day. Cake Day. Who doesn't like cake? Just never forget that Labor Day honors the living, not the dead. Our workforce, a single day off, so the real 9-to-5 heroes that keep this country humming can relax before squaring their shoulders and getting back to the job of carving out a better future. Raising 2.3 kids and paying off a mortgage with enough left over to cover the cable bill and at least one premium channel thrown in. So whether you flip burgers or beach houses, run a stockroom full of board length or a lengthy boardroom full of stockholders, enjoy your day off. You deserve it. Gather friends and family and wave a fond farewell to all that excess sunshine and bid hello to the calming of the light. No need to bring gifts. Although flowers and wine never go out of style. Ah, hell, make it a 6-pack. And while you're at it, some cake. For Let's Be Treasonable, I'm Will Durst.
Thank you very much, Will. So before we get into the wackiness of the week that we just experienced, you guys have any big plans for Labor Day?
I'll be working with the criminals. We never close, so we are. Jail is always open.
Good to know. And that probably a good thing for people who are getting ready to go out and celebrate Labor Day to know that
Yes, they will be.
jail is always open.
Yes, it is.
So be careful. Josh, you got anything going on Labor Day?
I'm going to see John Williams at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh, nice.
So I'm pretty excited about that.
Any particular score he's doing, or just the greatest hits?
Just the greatest hits. Exactly.
Nice.
Exactly. Yes.
Awesome.
So that's how I'm celebrating this holiday.
These are all good ways, but I think we should remind people that even though I'm sure none of the folks who need to hear this listen to this show, Labor Day is a day to celebrate those godless commies that you guys just spent the last 8 years bitching about, the ones who provided us with a 40-hour work week, with weekends. All these things that the horrible, evil unions have provided us that you just take advantage of because you take it for granted. So thank you to the godless communists and everybody else who's looking out for the meager American worker, because we know the boss man ain't. So enjoy your Labor Day. And let's talk a little bit about what's happening in the world. You know, we started talking about the floods in Houston, and I am, you know, I shouldn't be surprised by these things anymore. But I don't know if you guys saw on CNN earlier this week, and I don't know why they still do this. They were talking to Kellyanne Conway, and they brought up climate change, and she, of course, got all offended and said, really, is this the time to be talking about climate change? And that struck me as basically being the weather equivalent and the scientific equivalent of the Republican rally after every mass shooting. Really, is this the time to talk about gun control?
Right.
Yeah, it is, because I don't know what the disconnect is. You know, and one of the things we talk about on this show a lot is that we need to get out of our bubble. We need to talk to the quote unquote real Americans, but the folks who were so disillusioned with things that they decided, hey, maybe Trump would be a good idea. Hopefully, you are still seeing that you're wrong in that line of thought. But the reason people want to bring up climate change when something like Hurricane or Tropical Storm Harvey hits the Gulf Coast of Texas and Louisiana is because climate change is one of the things that is causing major destructive weather systems like this. And so if we do something to try and mitigate climate change, maybe we can avoid storms like this in the future. I think I heard the cleanup bill is going to be around $6 billion. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's safe to say, fingers crossed. Sorry, Don, you're not getting your wall this year either.
Well, it's going to be really, really interesting to see where his priorities fall once Congress is back in session, because he is really, really thirsty for that wall.
He wanted for them to shut down the government. But if you shut down, I mean, they're already saying, dude, you can't shut down the government because you want a wall. I mean, and also, man was supposed to be a steward of the land, as they would say religiously, seeing like the religious right we're talking all the time. And yet, you can't see that man is fucking up our society. You can't believe that a lot of the problems are man-made. Mm-hmm.
Well, this is, I think, a problem of, you hear about quote unquote cafeteria Catholics, the ones who pick and choose what, parts of the Bible they want to follow. And, I don't know why Catholics got the short shrift on that one, because pretty much everybody does it. But it's always interesting to talk about something like a huge natural disaster and the recovery effort and what can be done to prevent stuff like this from happening in the future. Talk to the religious folk, And it can be really interesting to find out where that line is between God helps them that helps themselves, and this is all being done by the glory of God.
Well, people had said this last week before and during the eclipse, that the eclipse wasn't just a thing that randomly happened. It had been predicted. We knew precisely when it was going to happen because of goddamn science, because scientists and astronomers are able to predict such things. So it's so selective. I mean, I always think that it's the same issue with Republicans who take medicine for their heart or whatever. Why should they trust the scientists that this is going to work?
Absolutely.
But it's picking and choosing.
Yeah.
And for some reason,
there's some things that God wants us to do for ourselves, and we'll let you know what those are.
Right.
Apparently, if you preach the prosperity gospel, opening your church to flood victims is not one of the things that God wants you to do. But if enough people on Twitter want you to do it, then maybe you'll think about it, Joel Osteen.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that he's selling. The guy makes $40 million a week, from what I was told from that church.
Damn.
As well as he makes $14 million a year from his books.
There are a lot of suckers out there.
Oh yeah, gullible as hell. I mean, I'm telling you, the guy who invented the pet rock is basically rolling over in his grave, going, "Damn, I could have got more for those rocks." And this just tells you. I mean, it's a very sad thing. I mean, to the point the water was so high, they had to bring in those army trucks. I mean, the army of those floaters and everything. You commend them for that, and you called out the governor. It was the governor who called out the National Guard to come and help people. You got about 15,000 soldiers that came out. But, all they show is, Melania changing her shoes. She came out in some $1,500 stilettos to go. And, I don't want to cut you off, but I'm glad you brought that up, because here's another one for the folks who don't listen to this show but should. A lot of conservatives and a lot of the same people who basically shit their drawers when Obama wore a tan suit were really upset with liberals and other folks who pointed out that Melania was wearing stiletto heels and Donald was wearing his little suede booties when they went to Houston. And for the conservatives out there, nobody gives a shit about the shoes they're wearing. We don't care. We're liberals. We're not fashionistas. The point is, though, and because conservatives often have trouble connecting dots, and God forbid they're asked to do a word search, but the issue isn't the actual footwear. The issue is what that footwear represents. And to see the First Lady and the President get off the plane in a disaster area wearing highly fashionable footwear suggests that they are, when you hear about boots on the ground, these are not those boots.
Right.
That they went down there with no intent whatsoever of being anywhere near the people who were most affected by this.
Yeah, and yet immediately afterwards, Trump said that he saw firsthand the horrors and devastation, and the journalists who were traveling with him said, oh no, we didn't see any horrors and devastation. He was kept far away from that, which is why I think now he has to do this return trip.
His reconnaissance tour
exactly.
today. But it's astounding. I mean, get out there, help unload a truck, hand water out to people.
I was saying, I said, if he wanted to show me presidential, he'd have showed up in his rain boots and he'd have said, where can I help? And dive in there and start handing out food or, hugging some folks, letting them know everything's going to be cool. But you're waving at people from your car like a distance, like, ha, enjoy the water. It's good to see the water.
Yeah. Can I say, what actually bothered me more than the footwear issue, which is, still annoying? It's Donald hawking his USA cap.
Yeah.
There's something really, really gross about going to this disaster site,